Southington High School. My name is Jhalissa Vincent, and you can sit with me. In this episode, Amber and I discuss what it's like being a woman in STEM and some of the challenges that she faces. We also talk about her life and how she came to be one of the top students at Southington High School. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of You Can Sit With Me. I'm your host, Jhalissa Vincent, and with me I have the talented, the extraordinary Amber Kohl. Hi, Amber.
Hi, Jhalissa.
Amber is a junior at SHS, and she is also a really good friend of mine. So, Amber, I know we're pretty close, but for everyone out there, why don't you tell the listeners a little bit more about yourself?
Yeah, so as Jhalissa said, I'm a junior at Southington High School, where I take mostly honors and AP classes. I'm also in Project Lead the Way. I'm also a competitive dancer. So I do most styles of dance, and I do competitions, and I really enjoy that. And yeah.
Can you explain Project Lead the Way for those out there who don't really know the Project Lead the Way program at Southington High School?
Yeah, definitely. So Project Lead the Way is an engineering program that our school offers, and it's a national program, so schools all over the country offer this program. And basically, they say it's like a 4-year, 5-course program. So it's basically just kind of like a sampling of different engineering courses to get kids introduced to engineering in high school where they're not paying for engineering classes. So it's a really great introduction to the field. So our freshman year, we take Introduction to Engineering. Sophomore year, you take Digital Electronics. Junior year, you take Principles of Engineering and Computer Integrated Manufacturing. And your senior year, you take Engineering Design and Development. So throughout these courses, you get to really have an understanding of the basics of engineering and what goes into different areas of engineering, and you really kind of get a sense for the workload and just how detailed and intricate and cool the field of engineering can be.
Being a Proj student, I assume that you like the field of engineering, right? So why did you choose that focus? Like, why engineering?
That is a tough question. Sometimes I ask myself that even now. So, like when I was little, like growing up, my dad was an engineer, and a lot of like men in my family, like both my grandfathers were engineers as well. So, like growing up, like my dad would talk about his job and his work like at dinner and stuff like that, and he'd be like, Amber, like what do you want to be when you grow up? Like, do you want to be an engineer? And I'd be like, no. Like I was like, no, I don't want to be an engineer, but like I didn't know what I did want to be when I grow up. Like, when you're a kid, you get asked so many times, like, oh, what do you want to be when you grow up? And you have to like do projects on that. And for a while I said like, oh, I want to be a teacher when I grow up. But then I like decided I didn't want to be a teacher. And there was like a good couple years where I really just had no clue. Like in middle school, I really didn't know what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. Like that's such a hard question to answer, but I kind of like, I guess, started like ruling things out. Like I knew I didn't want to go into the medical field at all. Like, like didn't want to do anything with the body. Like, to be honest, it kind of grosses me out a little bit. Like I knew I didn't want to go be a doctor or a surgeon or a nurse or anything like that. And then I thought like, well, what about like a lawyer or something? Like I'm a pretty good writer and I feel like I could argue well, but then I was like, I don't want to be a lawyer. So then in 8th grade, like there was applications to apply to Project Lead the Way. And so I did that and I got accepted into Project Lead the Way. And so through that, I've been exposed to engineering and I've kind of developed an interest for it. Like I said, when I was a kid, I really had no interest, but taking these classes has allowed me to kind of experience it and like, what even is engineering? And so it's like now I kind of like know what it is and I'm interested in it. And I feel like like I've always been like good at like math and science, and I have a
Yeah.
really strong work ethic. So I feel like I have the skills like to be a good engineer. Like I feel like I could like be very successful in this career, and I could see myself kind of doing well as an engineer. So I've kind of like, I don't want to say like process of elimination, but like kind of like that. Like I've found an interest in it, and I think I could see myself being an engineer in the future.
Oh,
So yeah.
cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting that you also brought up that like most of the men in your family are engineers because
Hmm.
in that field, engineering, it's heavily male dominated, right?
For sure. Yeah.
And I'm sure you've seen that being a project lead the way student, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely way more boys than girls in my project lead the way class. There's really only a couple other girls in my classes. So that's definitely hard to see, like
Yeah.
being.
Have you ever been in like situations where people doubted your ability because you were a girl?
Yeah, definitely. Like in the Project Leader program, there's just very few girls. So even just that fact in itself, being in a classroom with mostly other boys, just doubt like your abilities, and you doubt like if you belong there, like,
Mm-hmm.
and you just kind of feel a little bit outnumbered and
Yeah.
a little bit like just more unsure of yourself, and you feel like, at least I feel like you kind of have more of a need to like prove yourself,
Mm-hmm.
like in order to be taken seriously, like as a girl, like I've always been a pretty like shy and quiet person. Like I've come out of my shell, as I've gotten older, but like you definitely feel like in order to be listened to and to be taken seriously, like even just like in a group project, like you have to do more to prove yourself, to like prove that like you deserve to be there and that you're just as smart and capable and able to like make decisions.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to hear that too, because I know I myself I'm not really interested in like engineering, but I know it must be hard for you to be so passionate about something and like having not so much like representation in like, women in
Mhm.
that sort of field. So it must be hard. And have you ever heard of like the imposter syndrome by any chance?
Yeah, I've heard of it. I don't know too much about
Yeah, so
imposter syndrome.
basically, the definition of the imposter syndrome is a collection of feelings of inadequacy that persist despite evident success. High achieving individuals are marked by an inability to internalize their accomplishments and persistent fear of being exposed as a fraud, essentially doubting your achievements and success because you don't feel like you belong. Do you think you've ever felt that way before? Like, have you ever experienced the imposter syndrome?
Yeah, I think I've definitely felt that way before, like just like doubting myself and doubting my abilities, even though like I know like I deserve to like be in this program and I deserve to be
Yeah.
there. And so like I try to like remind myself like that I've worked really hard and that I have the capabilities that I need. And but yeah, definitely, especially as a girl in the STEM careers, you definitely, I think, are more susceptible to that and feeling like you don't belong and feeling like your achievements are underscored in a way. One thing that was a very positive thing as far as women in STEM and that like underrepresentation of women in this career was last March, right before the pandemic happened, actually, I had this amazing opportunity to go on a field trip to a women in STEM event. It was, I think it was called like STEM Goes Red or something. It was like in support of women's heart health and that. And so it was only girls were allowed to come to the field trip. And it was in Hartford. I think it was at Stanley Black and Decker maybe, but they had this like amazing like display of like this technology that engineers had created, and they had all these women from like in engineering careers who were talking about their personal journeys and their own struggles and their own accomplishments, and it was just so inspiring for me to see all these incredibly successful, smart, like amazing women in STEM
Oh.
like talking to us about like their experiences, and it was like just a really amazing event, and I hope it's like kind of indicating like change that's hopefully coming for the field, like
Yeah.
that more girls are going to be involved in STEM. Like that's totally something I'd love to see in the future. Like I'd love to see the change that more girls are being involved in STEM, like kind of be part of that change. So
Mm-hmm.
that was a pretty exciting and inspiring experience for me.
And you definitely belong in the STEM career, like absolutely. Your work ethic and your intellect, it's unmatched, seriously. So
Thank
don't
you.
ever doubt yourself. You are amazing, and you completely belong in the Proj program. And
Thank
you are you are obviously a huge achiever, right? So from like dance to school to friends. I mean, you literally do it all. Um,
Yeah,
so the
I was.
question I'm sure like everyone is dying to know, right, is like,
Mhm.
how do you manage your time? Like, how do you do it all?
That's like a hard question to like describe my answer to, because like it's like I don't know, how do I manage my time, you know? Like I guess definitely I don't know, before the pandemic, I feel like more so then I was often staying up late to do homework and to study and stuff like that. So I was definitely not getting as much sleep as I needed to, because like, you know, as someone who's trying to like get good grades in school, and then also like as a dancer, like as a dancer you don't really have an off season. Like it's we have like a month off in like August, but other than
Mhm.
that we're like training and practicing all year round. So after school, I'd have to like, you know, I'd have like a club or whatever, and then I'd go to dance for a couple hours, and then I'd have to do my homework. So like it was just like a lot happening at once. I was very, very busy.
Yeah.
So I would just have to stay up to get it all done. But then I feel like since the pandemic and like being in quarantine and stuff like that, like just because like things have like calmed down a little bit more, like
Mhm.
being at home for school more, and dance will be online, or like normally have a bunch of competitions happening on the weekends, but I haven't had like any competitions.
Yeah.
So things have definitely been slower since the pandemic. So I feel like I haven't been having to stay up as late like to do work or anything like that. So that's been definitely a big change for me, feeling a little less, I guess, busy.
Yeah, I mean, it sure sounds that like you're very busy. I mean,
Mhm.
comparing my schedule to yours, it definitely sounds like you're very busy. And so, can I ask you, like, are you an only child?
I'm not. I have a younger brother who's in seventh grade.
Oh, oh, so like, so you're the oldest. So
Hmm.
I'm the oldest as well. Do
Yes.
you like feel like you have any expectations, like, or do you feel like your family puts any pressure on you because you're the eldest daughter?
I don't think my family like really puts any pressure on me or certain expectations as the oldest daughter, like, but just like the dynamic of you are the oldest daughter, you
Mm-hmm.
just it's kind of like you inherently have like a little extra responsibility, like
Yeah,
just like something like babysitting on the weekend, like when your parents go out,
100%.
like
Yeah.
just having to watch them, or just like feeling like you do want to be like a positive role model.
Mm-hmm. I
I'm sure
mean,
you feel that way.
I have two younger brothers. One's in middle school and the other one's in third grade. And like sometimes it feels like I'm raising them, like I help them with their homework, or sometimes I'll make like dinner, but sometimes like it kind of feels like I'm paving the way for them, like I feel like if I do well in school and like my teachers like me, and like if I'm doing like a lot of like projects, right? Once my brothers get into high school, they'll be all set because my teachers like them as well. So it's not they don't have like that kind of bridge that they have to get over, They already have that,
Yeah,
oh well, that's Jalissa's a sister, or that's Jalissa's brother, and like it kind of like feels like I'm doing it for them, like I'm not, I work hard for myself all the time, and I definitely feel like the pressure of maintaining my grades and doing the best in like extra activities, but sometimes I don't know if like they feel that same pressure that I feel, but like then again, they're still like really young, so I don't know. Maybe in a few years that'll change, but
yeah,
so it's definitely definitely a dynamic between being the eldest daughter and like like another sibling,
definitely.
and so being an SHS student, like one of the top in our class, do you know what the SHS vision of a graduate is?
I've definitely heard that phrase before, but I don't really know what it is.
Yeah, I don't think it's something that like everyone is too familiar with, but
No.
essentially, Southington High School has sort of like a mission statement of what a student should be after graduating from Southington High School. Would you like to hear it?
Sure.
All right, so straight from the handbook, a graduate of the Southington Public Schools will be college ready or career ready and prepared for life beyond mastering the knowledge and demonstrating the skills to communicate effectively, think creatively and critically, and contribute to the global community. So, Amber, do you
Hmm.
think that you are the vision of the SHS graduate?
Hmm. I think so.
Ooh,
I I
okay.
I think as much as anyone can be, I guess. Like I've taken like very challenging courses here at the high school, like honors and AP level, and I've done pretty well in those courses. So I feel like I've picked up the knowledge and the skills like
Mhm.
from my classes that I've needed to that will be able to prepare me for taking classes in college and then eventually finding a job. And I also feel like I've been able to learn like important life skills along the way that will
Mhm.
definitely be able to help me in anything that I do, not just necessarily college. Like, I feel like one of the biggest skills I've been like working on, and I feel like I've been able to like not master, but like get better at is like balance because I feel like that's just like
Yeah,
such an important thing to have in your life, like no matter what you're
100%.
doing,
Yeah.
like balance, like knowing like that, yeah, your grades are super important, like they're very much so something that I think about a lot. But like definitely having the balance between like school and also like doing extracurricular activities like clubs and also balancing it with like something you like for me that's dance, like a fun like sport, and also finding time to go out with your friends and be a teenager like in high school and have fun and create a social life so that you can be like happy and have balance. And I feel like I've been able to kind of find that for myself.
Mhm.
So, and that's something that's going to carry me through the rest of my life as something that's super important. So, yeah.
Now, you kind of talked about like balance, and I think that's
Mhm.
something very important to talk about, like having that balance between school and, having a social life and, like with family, like spending time with
Definitely.
family. And you also mentioned that you do dance, and that's something big in your life. So,
Mhm.
can you like tell me like why did you decide dance was what you were going to do?
I mean, it's just something I've always liked. I started dancing when I was 3 years old at the same studio I dance at now, and I always really liked it. There was definitely in elementary school, I wasn't like the most into it. Like my parents had me doing like other sports like soccer and softball and volleyball, just so I could like try different things out and see what I liked.
Mhm.
And then when I was in fifth grade, I kind of started taking more dance classes, and I started really, really liking it and liking different styles. So then I kind of decided like, okay, like this is gonna be my thing. This is gonna be like my sport that I do. So then I was tried out for like the competition team, and I started doing competitions, and it's yeah, it's just become like this huge part of my life that I really like. Like, dance is like an art form or whatever. So it's like kind of like it's an escape from like school, and I have like my dance friends that I'm very close to, and it's great
Oh,
to like see them and dance with them. And I'm really excited to hopefully get into some competitions this year because that's something I've really, really missed. Like,
yeah.
obviously, everybody's missed out on their sports and things important to them from the pandemic, and dance has been one of the big things for me that I love to do. So I'm very excited to hopefully start competing again.
Oh, well, I'm glad. And so for our final question today, right? What's one thing you wish people knew about you?
Hmm. Well, one thing, okay, this is kind of like a silly thing, I guess, but
Go
I
ahead.
wish
Go
people
for it.
knew I was like fun, I guess. Like outside of school, like when I'm in school, like I'm there to learn, I'm there to like be focused, I'm there to get good grades, I'm there to,
Mhm.
I'm there to work, I'm there to do what I need to do to
Absolutely.
be successful, right? So I definitely am much more serious and withdrawn and shy. And I think people perceive me as kind of just like a person who's very serious and very focused on school and maybe even like only cares about her grades or whatever. But like outside of school, like I'm not a totally different person, but like I'm very different. Like I'm much
Yeah.
more outgoing and fun, and I like to just let loose with my friends and have a good time and like be
Yeah, again,
crazy
with
and
that, like,
silly.
balance of, like,
Yes,
school and friends.
definitely.
Yeah, and I think that you are very fun, Amber. I
Thanks.
think that you are extremely funny and super nice, and, I think that if people wanna see that, like, um fun in quotation marks side of you, they should really come to our PowerPoint nights. I mean, we we have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's pretty fun. Yeah. So I
Yeah.
think that you are amazing, and thank you so much for talking with me today, talking about engineering and that balance between school. Thank you so much, Amber.
Thank you for having me, Jhalissa.
Southington High School So You Can Sit With Me is produced by students and faculty of Southington High School. A special thank you goes to Southington Public Schools Coalition for Social Justice. I'm Jhalissa Vincent, and thank you for listening. And remember, there's always a seat open for you.